Hello all, welcome to this video on how to work with custom portals on the WiNX and the WiNX portable. So let's jump right in. Now download the custom portal firmware from hackerarsenal.com and unzip that into a directory. Once you do that, you would actually find the following files inside that directory. Now, the first step is going ahead and flashing our firmware on the device. So to do this, we'll use the commands inside readme.txt. Based on if you are running Windows, Linux, or Mac OS, you can pick up the appropriate command. Just make sure that the port to which your device is connected to has been selected properly. Okay, so let's paste this. Now, what you would see a lot of times is that maybe the baud rate of the firmware running on the device is set to a lower one. And when that happens, a lot of times there may be an issue flashing. So let me go ahead, run this. And if you notice, we ended up having a little problem where it actually said, well, looks like it timed out waiting for some packet. Now, if you see this, let's actually go ahead and reduce the baud rate to a lower one. So let's actually go ahead, quickly open up text edit. We'll paste this command in. And this part here which says baud, I'm going to change this to 11520. Copy everything out, go back here, paste it. And now it should just go ahead and work fine. Right, so this is one of the most common issues that you might face is if the firmware running on it might be on 11520, and what you would end up seeing is if you try to flash it as a much faster baud rate, it might not work. So let's go ahead, wait for this to finish. Once this finishes, our device should be up and running with the new firmware. So if you notice, it says the device has been hard reset. Fantastic. So now to connect to the device and to configure it, we need to go ahead and use a serial terminal program. So you have your own choices of whatever you're comfortable with. I'm just going to use the serial monitor on the Arduino IDE. So I'm going to make sure that the port once again is selected to the right one, /dev cu.slab USB to UART, that's the one. And then I'm going to run the serial monitor. Now, when you run the serial monitor, make sure that the baud rate again is set to the right one. If you notice, the baud rate is set to 115200, which is perfect. Now, there are two ways to connect to this. One is you can put a question mark, hit and enter, and you would see that WiNX would go ahead and respond back with this menu. Now, if you do not see this, flip the device if it is a WiNX, or on the front side of the device if it is a portable, you should see the EN button, which you can press briefly for a second or two and then release. This will power reset the device and it should automatically boot up and finally show you the same help menu, right? So you can try either one of these options. So if you look at the WiNX deception menu, we have multiple options. The first is using the H command to set an SSID for our honeypot. Then we have a couple of commands. The first is status, then you have logs, flush log, flush all, and then you have X, which shows you the persistent state storage status. Now, what is all of this? Now, as far as the custom firmware or the custom portal firmware is concerned, which we are running, This requires that we upload an HTML file onto the device, which will then be used as the custom portal page. So a lot of times you may have already uploaded a file and you might want to clean all of that up before you go ahead and upload a new one. So let me actually go ahead and do a flush all, which is always a good thing to do to ensure there are no remnants from a previous run. So this deletes all files and automatically power resets the device. And if you notice, it creates a hotspot with the SSID internet. And if you notice, it tells you that the custom portal is not configured. Okay. So now the next step is going to be to upload a custom HTML page onto the device, which will then use as the login page. Now, I'm keeping the SSID set to the default one, but you can change it using the H command. So let's actually look at the HTML files. Now, inside the same directory as the firmware, you should find another directory by the name scripts. Once you enter that directory, you would see a README file followed by 2 sample templates which we've created. So let me go ahead and open one of these template files. I'm going to use Chrome. And if you notice, this is a simple HTML page. We can look at the source code, which has all the CSS as well as the HTML in the same file. Now in this version of the firmware, this is very important, which is the HTML file needs to embed the CSS, the JavaScript, and the images and everything within it. Maybe we might in the future allow you to upload a full directory, but right now it's going to be one HTML file containing everything. So what is the good news about this file and this form? Now, interestingly, you can create any form you like. All you have to do is make sure that the action points to some location on the web server. So in this case, I've pointed this to the root path. And what WiNX smartly does is it will automatically parse all of these form values and store it on the device. So what this means is you really don't have to tell WiNX what all the form contains. It just automatically takes in all the form input it receives and stores them on the device. So let me show you a quick demo. So the next step is to upload this custom portal. Let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to open up a terminal. Now make sure when you're uploading something onto the device, then your serial communication tool or application is closed. There can only be one device talking to WiNX at any given instance. Okay. So I'm going to go inside the scripts directory and I actually see my template 1.html, which we've just looked at, right? This is template 1.html. Now to upload this to the device, we have created a little helper utility called WiNX Deception Helper. So if you run WiNX Deception Helper with the -h options, you'll actually find that it takes in 2 inputs. One is the serial port path and other is the HTML file to upload, right? Really simple. So let's actually go ahead and do that. The serial port path is dev, and basically, if you notice in the case of Mac, this is what it is. So this is going to be slab USB to UART, followed by with the -f option for the HTML file, which we are going to be using template 1.html to begin with. Now, currently, we go ahead and upload the file really very slowly onto the device. We don't try to write it at the maximum throughput of the serial port, simply because writing to the device's local storage takes a little bit more time. So let's go ahead, run this. And if you notice, it automatically connects to the device and it starts uploading it, right? Now at this point, the kind of limit on uploads is around 150 kilobytes, which includes the HTML, CSS, and everything put together. Keep in mind that you can minify it and you can take images and bring down the resolution so you can upload it onto the device. The serious limitation is really the storage space available on the device and its RAM. Keep in mind, for such a small form factor, it is not possible to go ahead and pack too much of disk space on it. However, having said that, if you intelligently create your pages, go ahead and kind of, create slightly lower resolution version of your images, that generally works for most devices, right? Because when you use a phone or any other mobile device, and when a victim or during an awareness test, when someone connects to it, anyway, everything is really small. So smaller image isn't generally a bad idea. Okay, now that we've uploaded this onto the device, it's a good idea to reset the device. So I'm going to again press the EN option, EN button, and release it after around 2 seconds. This should reset the device. And then I'm going to open my Arduino serial monitor once again. Let's put a question mark, hit and enter. Now, the first thing I'm going to put is status. So this way we can see what is the status of the device. And if you notice, now it actually says custom portal is configured. Fantastic. The default SSID is internet. We can change that. So let me go ahead and change this to H. I'm just going to call this free internet. Let me count the number of characters. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 13. So I'm going to go back here, H13 free internet. And that should automatically set that the device quickly restarts. The custom portal page remains the same. Fantastic. So now this device should actually be giving out basically, an SSID free internet with the custom portal page we just designed. So let me switch over to my mobile device and go ahead and run the rest of the demo on it. So the moment that happens, I can actually see on my phone screen there is a free sign into Wi-Fi sign. I'm going to connect to that and the sample portal opens. It shows me a username and a password page. I'm just going to type in Vivek, password 123456, hit sign in. And if you notice, it says try again on the mobile device. But over here on the requested, just after it says just above requested login page, we can clearly see that the username and password are being shown. Okay. Now at any point, if you wanted to see these logs, then all you have to do is type in logs and you can retrieve the username and password. Keep in mind that till that point, you don't explicitly use a flush log or a flush all. These logs are going to be stored locally on the device, which means this is fantastic for mobile engagements. Okay, so now that we've seen an example where we can upload an HTML page, the next logical step is how to include images within that, right? So to include images, what we will have to do is convert the images into base64 encoded format. Now you can use a lot of websites, you can even write a simple Python script to do it, but I'm just going to use a website because that makes it accessible to people who might not know Python programming or for that matter other scripting languages. So what I've done is I've actually saved Mr. Bays on the desktop, and the process is going to be identical to pretty much most other images. Make sure that the image, as I said, the image and HTML together shouldn't exceed 150 kilobyte for now. So select the image. I've already stored that on the desktop, demo.png. And if you notice, this has converted that into base 64. You can click on show code, and this will show you what you need to paste inside the image tag. So I can copy this to clipboard, and we can see data image PNG, base 64, blah, blah, blah. So what we could do right now is basically go back in here. I'm going to actually use the terminal. So to me, at least, it's more comfortable. So I'm going to copy template1.html to live demo.html. Love live demos. And I'm going to open live demo.html. And I'm going to add a new image tag. So what I'm going to do is actually create new paragraph. Actually, and then inside this, I'm actually going to go ahead and paste my image tag. So all we have to do is open an image tag, source equals, open up double quotes, and then paste every single thing that we copied from the website here, right? All of this data, right? Copy it out, and then we can paste it here. It's going to be a lot of data going in, and then close the code, give a space, and then close the image tag. Once we do that, let's save it. Now I've used Vim. You can even use a GUI based editor. It's just up to you. Always make sure that you check the size of live demo.html. It's only 16 KB. That isn't much. As I said, we have space up to 150 KB. Now once we do that, I'm going to go ahead and use my little tool to upload live demo.html onto the device. Make sure that any serial monitor at this point is disconnected. So let's go ahead, upload this. Should take a couple of seconds, or maybe a minute or two. Now we will be working on optimizing the speed of the upload. Right now what we've done is, by adding a delay, we just make sure everything is being written properly on the device. I would actually recommend keeping the delay as it is in the Python script if you're a programmer. Very soon we should go ahead and have this fixed, where we might be able to transfer at faster rates. So while it is uploading, I'd like to take this opportunity to also tell you guys to definitely reach out to us with more interesting ideas on firmware and other functionality. You can even tweet to us. We are SecurityTube on Twitter. We are the guys behind Pentester Academy and SecurityTube.net. So if you're one of our students, or if you want to check us out, definitely do that. And we are still waiting for the upload to happen. I'm just going to briefly pause this video. That's all the commercial I could think about in between. So let me just pause the video. Okay, now that the upload is complete, let me quickly verify using the serial monitor, and let's actually reset the device using the EN button. Okay, so if you notice, we have free internet, we have the custom portal configured. Maybe we can play with even some of the other options. So if you do an X, which is to view the persistent storage, you can actually see that we have the custom portal file and a couple of other config files in there, right? Great. So now that we have this, I'm going to go ahead, use my mobile phone to connect to this portal. It's going to take a second. Find free internet, connect to it. Immediately we get a sign in option. And there you go. If you notice, our Mr. Base seems to appear, right? My HTML skills aren't too great. So this is the best I could actually do. Actually put in something, and then this hit sign in. And that was actually captured. Fantastic. Okay, so now, just so that we can complete this, we also have another portal page, which is template 2. And this contains, of course, our mascot for Hacker Arsenal, right? So another custom page. Now let's go ahead and upload this. And this will be the final demo. So this is actually a page which is almost 44 KB in length, if you notice. And that's the reason why you're going to have a longer upload time onto the device. I'm going to pause this till the time we finish upload. Okay, so now the upload has finished. Let's actually connect back to the device. And let's quickly reset it. Let's give it a second. Okay, so now what we find is, again, custom portal is configured, free internet. Let's go ahead, look at the status. Everything is good. Let's look at the file size which was uploaded. And if you notice, the custom portal size 44200, which is basically what we kind of had over here, right? A couple of extra metadata is actually added by us when uploading, and that's why you see a slight increase in size. Okay, sounds good. So now let's actually go ahead and connect to this device. So I'm going to go find free internet, connect to it. You can see the sign in option. And there we go. We have our friendly little robot showing up on our custom page. Just going to put in some values in there. Password, email, something random, phone number as well. Click on sign in. Of course, it says try again, and there we go. We managed to get all of these details from the captive portal page. Fantastic. So guys, this is what I have in mind for this demo. I'd actually say pretty much you are only limited by your creativity and of course the 150 KB size limit of the file. So if you have any other suggestions, definitely write to us at contact@hackerarsenal.com. And as I said, we are already working on having the capability to upload a directory. But of course, the net size of all the files in that directory might not be able to exceed 150 to 200 KB, right? But we can do a lot within that limitation. Again, just wanted to go ahead and point out that you can create your own custom forms, as many fields in there, and every single field which the firmware receives through the captive portal will be displayed and saved on the device. Last but not the least, always make sure that if you want everything completely fresh, just do a flush all, right? Before that, make sure that you type in logs and you can get and see all the data you need, especially the username, passwords, and other things you may have mined during your awareness campaign or pen test. And once everything has been collected, just do a flush all, which would pretty much end up deleting every single thing, right? And resetting the device. So that's all I have in mind for this video. Hope you enjoy our tools at hackerarsenal.com, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.